affordability.
We're live again.
Affordability. Hold on.
Okay.
Are we back on?
We're back on.
Okay, so just to reset, so the question that is sort of on the table is when we talked about affordability, and Dr. Ziegler's question can be on the table as well, but the thing I'm really trying to get at here is the next generation of residents, right? I think everybody in this room, and a lot of people on our mailing list are either, Gen Xers or baby boomers or older. Delafield seems to me to be aging, and to deal with our schools, to deal with economic development, to have people to buy our houses when we move out, we need young people to be attractive. So I'm trying to broadly ask the question of strategies beyond the lot issue we just talked about for attracting young people to Delafield. So Sandra,
yeah, and I think we have two different things that we're looking at. So we have millennials and the Gen Z that we're looking to attract to the community, but we also have an aging community who is going to want to possibly stay here. And they're not going to want to stay in some of their homes that are 2 to 3 acre lot sizes. They might not want to stay on their lake home with all of the additional activities that they have to do for maintenance. So we really have to think about this from a full perspective of how are we offering people the opportunity to be here when they come here when they're young, where they might want to be and live when they are in their family years, and then where they might want to still be a part of our community when they don't need so much space and they can't really take on that maintenance activity. So I think that what we need to look at is a diversity of the style of architecture. I know that when I came here, that was something that was really difficult for me, was trying to figure out, where was the right type of home that was going to fit the style and the way that I like to live. And I think that, many people when they're coming here, they are looking for something different. And so I think that is what we need to really be looking at with some of these new developments. And we're right, they might not be able to fit within that $300,000 or lower price range, but at the same time, I think that if we're offering something that will attract people to be here, that a lot of people will make the ends be able to meet. I know a lot of people who have the money to be able to spend a $450,000 to $500,000 house as a young person, and so I think that is something you should be looking at. We also need to look at townhouses. A lot of things that the Gen X and Gen Z millennials like is kind of that more community living. How are we going to create those neighbors in those communities, but still kind of make it fit within our area? And I think townhouses, especially the one that's going up next to Wells Street Station, is a really nice looking building, and something that we should look at. How do we kind of copy that throughout the city and make that a more attractive way for people to get here? Other than that, I think that we really need to look at the amenities that some of our new neighborhoods are offering. Will there be a playground in the middle of the neighborhood that would offer a community aspect for some of those neighbors? So I think that there's a lot of things that we can be doing as we're looking at the planning of these activities to attract people and attract the families and attract different ages. And we can't just think about it from one perspective. We need to think about it from the beginning of when we attract somebody to when they're kind of retiring.
Okay. Anything else?
I was just going to say that, I was totally involved with the development of those 4 new townhouses downtown Delafield, helping to make yet another development take place. And those things are listing, I believe, for over $750,000 a piece. Right? So, that's the reality, right? And I just want to make another point, too, is that the aging community is a good point. But they're also the same people that are selling their larger home and wanting to buy the low-cost item that's close by, that's driving those prices up, right? They're vacating the 4-bedroom, 5-bedroom, 3-bedroom house they have, and they're driving the price up on those smaller units, whether they're apartments or condos or whatever they are. Because they want to be here, but they don't need all the things they used to need, nor do they want to take care of it.
Well, and I also, just to add on to this a little bit more, is I think we also need to be offering some of this advice and coaching to our residents who are in this scenario where they think they're going to want to be selling their house in the next few years. If I know that people want to get top dollar for their homes, but at the same time, what are some of the things and the changes that they could maybe be enjoying and working with now that will help them to sell these homes to some of those younger generations in the future. And that might be something that we need to look at as a community to keep our property values up and make sure that this is something that we can offer to our citizens is just kind of understanding, how are these tastes and differences changing, and what do people really want when they're coming to look at buying a home in Delafield.
Okay, so I want you to just change perspective for a second from residents to businesses, and put your sort of small business owner, Delafield small business owner hat on. Do you think historic downtown is healthy from a business perspective currently? And I guess regardless of whether you do or don't, what do you think could and should be done to support our local small businesses? And I can't remember.
I know, I was going to say the same thing. You want it?
I'll go
You got to start.
So no, I don't think that our downtown area is as healthy as it could be. I think that having a vacant lot in our area has really kind of hurt business the last few years. I think that people are starting to kind of wonder if Delafield is as hip and happening as it used to be. I think that we need to encourage more participation from our citizens and try to get more people out and into the community. I know that one of the things I heard from a number of our older generation here is that they think the farmers market is really lacking, and how do we actually make some more interesting moves to get people downtown? One of the things I learned about Delafield is that we have the legal ability to walk around the streets of Delafield with alcohol.
That's true. That's three.
Not a lot of places have that opportunity. So why we can't get people to want to come into downtown is really crazy to me. I do a girls trip with a friend of mine every year, and last year we went to Savannah, Georgia, and they have that same law in their historic area where you can walk around with an open container, and they have to-go sets is what they call it. And so, people can stop into a store, get their to-go some mimosa, and then go shopping. And, that's really something that we could be looking at doing some more of those type of civic activities and kind of bringing awareness to some of the really kind of unique aspects of Delafield that we already have in place that we don't need to change the laws for.
Yeah, so, a lot of that responsibility goes on, I think, the creative ideas and so forth go on the chamber, which many of our small business owners are members of, and also the Promotion and Tourism Commission, which is part of the city of Delafield. Certainly the Promotion and Tourism, they have a part-time staff member, but otherwise it's pretty much all volunteers. They're getting paid $15 a meeting once a month, right? So it's all voluntary staff. These are the things that they spend their time trying to help come up with, right? And they certainly have been improving, I would say, over the last few years, for sure. More creativity, different types of events. They've doubled the Chamber's doubled the number of events that they've had in the past. Delafield Lions just started a downtown car show, which I helped to orchestrate. It's just another event to try to bring things to help make the downtown business community better. The question is it healthy? My dad was a small business owner, and he still is today. And I've never been a small business person that was satisfied that their sales and things were good enough, right? So there's always room for improvement. I know the rents are high in the city of Delafield. It makes it more difficult for some of the traditional businesses that we've had in the past to stay here. They can find cheaper square footage costs in other communities around here. So it's challenging, right? Could it be better? Yes. I don't like vacant storefronts any more than anybody else. My wife and I and kids spend a fair amount of time in downtown Delafield shopping. And as far as the vacant lot, of course, I hate that vacant lot, to tell you the truth. I've talked around a couple of times about just at least trying to clean it up, which he's been generally very helpful with doing. But hopefully that vacant lot is going to be in our rear view mirror here quite quickly, and that is going to help drive and I think change the mindset of a lot of our small business owners downtown.
let me just say, as a plug for our small business owners now, especially with what is going to be a really negative impact of coronavirus and the sort of restrictions, we should all go out of our way to spend some money in downtown Delafield and support these businesses because they're going to have a tough couple of months. Sorry, I promised no speeches, but that's my second speech. Last question, and then we're going to wrap up. So I know you both fully anticipate winning this election, but I'd like to know, each of you, if you don't, what your plans are, what you think you'd do in terms of the community and the city going forward. Kent, maybe you can start.
Yeah, so I have a full-time job with GE Savic. I've been with them 27 years. You know, that's where my real job is. That's what really allows me to pay the taxes in the city of Delafield. You know, being mayor is a part-time job. It pays around $7,000 a year, and I fully anticipate winning the election. But if for some reason I weren't to win the election, I would do what I've always done in the past, right? I enjoy being part of the community. I volunteer to take down buckthorn along the Bark River. I've been on the Lake Welfare Committee. I've served various roles, which is why I have an understanding of the city that I do, right? That it's all those experiences that add up to help me to try to move our community in a direction that hopefully the vast majority of people are in agreement with. So I would continue doing the civic duty that I've always done.
So I think that what I would probably do is some of the things I've already recommended doing is that, you know, we really need to look at our city operations and try to put more engagement and activation of the citizen and involvement in them. I think that we're doing too much in our city in-house, and I think that we really do need to try to do some of this and put that onus back on the people of the community as opposed to spending all of our money on services that we know that people would happily volunteer for if they knew that the opportunity was there and that the city needed their services. And so that would be probably something I would really try to do, is make sure that we are connecting people such as myself who have more time because, you know, we have decided to stay at home with their kids, and now their kids are starting to get into these school-age levels, and so I do have time to give back a little bit more than a lot of people who have full-time jobs do. So that's one of the things I would do. Another thing I would try to look at is some of our economic development being one of those areas that we really do need to focus on. What are some of those organizations that are out there that have already put together 503Cs to be able to manage this? There is an organization called mainstreet.org, and that organization has put together whole plans and a kind of a movement of how small towns can actually create and enhance their economic development. And so that's something that I would really kind of encourage us to look at as a city, because I don't think that all of these solutions are going to come from our city hall. I think that they need to come from the community, and so I would look at ways of making sure that we kind of get some of that outside thinking back into our city.
All right, well, I think we're going to wrap up. Let me just say, first, thank you to both of you for your really very thoughtful answers and engagement in this process. I think on behalf of our coalition, we really appreciate it. And we really appreciate both of you willing to serve the city, and that you clearly both care about this place like we do. And we're really appreciative of that. Again, two last things, just a reminder. We'd love people to join our coalition in support of economic development. Please go to our Facebook page and follow us and sign up, and vote on April 7th. Thanks a lot.